Good morning. Today's mindfulness meditation comes from a field of kind of study and practice for therapy, a therapeutic modality as they're called internal family systems, which is probably my favorite, honestly. So I'm sharing out of that. But basically, the general idea of internal family systems, and I'll include some information in the description below, but the general idea of internal family systems is that all of us have many different parts of ourselves in our mental world that kind of work together or have tension with one another. And a lot of our, what we call our mental health comes from that interaction from our internal family system. One way to sort of connect to this is when you feel, like you have really different parts of you that show up. So sometimes this might be a part of you that gets really frustrated, and it actually feels different in your body, and you feel like it's sort of a different person than like the part of you that shows up when you're feeling calm and kind of centered or grounded. So basically just sharing this as a general framework because it can be really helpful as you start to meditate to kind of come up with whatever your sort of visual or felt representation is of your internal world. Part of what makes mindfulness so effective and so helpful is that it gradually helps you build that picture so that you can work with the different parts of yourselves as they show up. So when you get frustrated, you're able to work with that, or when you feel sad or depressed, you're able to create some space and work with that part. So today's meditation will focus on that. Please feel free to ask any questions or check out our admin's website for more resources. I am going to quickly get our bell together here, and we will get started. Go ahead and find a comfortable position where you're seated, allowing the sound of the bell to just bring you into an awareness of this moment. Kind of choosing to let go of what you might be feeling coming into this meditation. Maybe there are lots of thoughts on your mind, maybe lots of work-related things, family-related things, relationships in your life. Just taking this moment to notice all of that, but kind of have it set apart from you so you can just breathe and kind of get grounded. Begin to take breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And allow your attention, your awareness to go with that breath. All that means is that you're letting your mind, the part of you that notices things, that's aware of things, when there's a sound or something that happens near you, you turn towards it, you look towards it. In the same way, we're just allowing that attention part of you, that curiosity part of you, to focus on the feeling of your breath. And as your thoughts are pulled back to work or relationships or heavy feelings that you might have, just gently bringing them back and reminding yourself that this is just your moment to take a break from all of that. It'll be there when we end. We'll be able to deal with it maybe with a little more space, but right now, you're just taking a rest in your breath. Now we're going to do a brief visualization to help get a sense of what a part might look like for you. And all that means is some part of you that shows up regularly, maybe that causes some tension or that needs something from you. We're just going to try to start getting a little bit of a visualization for that so that you can build your own mental model of what is going on inside of you. So continuing to breathe, your breath is going to be your best grounding, your best anchor to the present moment. Just keep breathing as we do this. And I'd like you to think of some feeling or some experience that maybe you feel like you're getting stuck in lately. Some common ones that I hear a lot of are feelings of frustration, feeling kind of stuck, feelings of sadness or grief, busyness, a busy mind, feeling just frantic. And there's so many other ones as well, but just trying to get a sense of one to work with today. Minds are complex, and parts of us aren't totally discrete in the sense that they're not just all separate from one another, but just for the purpose of this exercise, feel free to pick one of those places. And as you think about that feeling, as you think about that, keep breathing, keep offering your breath to yourself to keep you here in this moment. Sometimes when we get near to those feelings, it's easy for us to get what's called blended. It's easy for us to get all mashed up with them and not be able to separate ourselves from what is a feeling that comes and goes at times. This is a part of us, but this is not the whole of us. And separating out actually gives us the space needed to care and listen to ourselves to find out what we need. As you think about that part, first we'll start with kind of appearance. Think about in your mind, does this part of you look like anything? I was working with some kids who were getting really angry, and when they asked that question, the little boy said that this part of him that was getting angry looked like a red Hulk, all hulked out. And the other therapist who was kind of working alongside, who was working with those kids, who I was actually just getting to witness her work, was helping him get a picture of that red Hulk and start to notice when red Hulk shows up so that he can work with that part of him. I think that is such a great example of this. So just noticing, does this part look like you? Is this part wearing a certain kind of clothing? Is this part big or small? Maybe a different age. It's not uncommon for us to have parts of us that are younger, that were developed in times of need when we were younger to help us get through and manage. Just noticing all of this. Keep breathing. Continue to feel your breath. Now, does this part, when it shows up, cause you to feel something specific in your body? This is a shift from the more left brain sort of descriptive ability to something that's a little bit more of a felt experience. So maybe if it's frustration, we can actually feel ourselves getting warm. or hot. Maybe you notice certain muscles tense in your body when this part is present, or certain feelings like a sinking in your stomach or a heaviness in your limbs. Just noticing if anything shows up for you in your felt sense. As we start to become more aware of the parts of us, sometimes we'll notice them very explicitly, like we just did, where we visualize them and we see them. But more often than not, what we'll notice first is feelings in our body. We'll notice our bodies shift out of maybe a more grounded breathing place and into whatever the body state is that belongs to this part. Now returning to your breath, I want you to notice if you're feeling tension, if you're feeling blended with that part of you, maybe the frustration or the grief feels like it's overwhelming right now. It's good to notice, and we can always come back to the breath. That part is there, and as we learn, we'll be able to work more with it, but we don't need to stay blended with that part. For numerous reasons, that part might want to reach over and grab the steering wheel, might want to be in control of our lives. That's a developed response. That's a way of staying safe in dangerous situations. But here in this moment, we actually want to reassert that our grounded, breathing self is the one that's driving. So keep paying attention to your breath. In and out. In and out. We will work with parts more later, but for now, go ahead and with the sound of the bell, bring yourself back to the room. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'll include some info below. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Have a great day.